My beloved brothers and sisters, with a heart full of love and truth, I speak to you now, not as a stranger, but as one who carries your burdens, feels your pain, and knows the longing that cries silently in your soul. Have you ever stood in the stillness of the night, looking at the stars, and wondered, why do I feel so different? Have you ever felt like you don't quite belong, not just in the world, but in your very flesh? Have you ever sensed a divine whisper deep within your heart saying, you are more, you were made for something greater? This is not your imagination, my dear ones. This is not some passing feeling or a dream that fades at dawn. This is the truth that the world tried to bury, the secret that darkness tried to silence. You are not 100% human. There is something ancient, something divine, something eternal within you. Your origin, your true origin, is not just of the earth, it is of the heavens. It is a mystery, but not one meant to stay hidden. You were chosen. You were marked before time began. You were breathed into by the Almighty, and your spirit carries echoes of that breath even now. So hear me not with your ears only, but with your heart. Open your spirit to the revelation that is coming, because once you see it, you will never be the same again. Let us now uncover the sacred truths, beloved. Listen closely to these revelations. Open your heart to these divine insights. These are the keys to your hidden identity. Behold the mystery revealed in clarity. These truths will awaken your sleeping soul. From the beginning of time, when the stars were hung in the sky and the oceans were carved with the hand of the Almighty, there was a moment when the Creator paused, a sacred silence before something holy was spoken into existence. And in that sacred moment, He did not speak you into being like the sun or the mountains. No, for you, He did something different. He breathed. He formed the dust of the earth into a vessel, but it was not yet alive. It was not until the Lord God breathed into the nostrils of man that life came. This breath, Roch Elohim, was not mere air, it was divine essence. It was eternity entering time. It was the unseen becoming flesh. It was heaven kissing earth. That is the breath you carry, not simply oxygen, but the very presence of God within you. This is why your life is more than cells, more than biology, more than DNA. Your physical body, yes, it was shaped from the earth, but your soul, your essence, was imparted from the divine Himself. That is why no science can fully explain the depth of your being. That is why the world cannot satisfy your hunger, and why the pleasures of the flesh leave you empty. Because what was placed in you did not come from the world. It came from above. You were never meant to be just a creature of dust. You were created to be a bridge between heaven and earth. You are not an accident of evolution. You are not the product of random particles colliding. You are the result of intentional, holy design. Something eternal lives in you, something unexplainable, powerful and pure. You were made in the image and likeness of God, not merely in form, but in essence. This is why the battle in your soul is so intense. The darkness knows what you carry. The enemy fears what you can become. He doesn't fear your body, he fears your breath, the breath of God within you. He knows that if you wake up to this truth, if you start living from that divine source within, you will become unstoppable. You will walk in a power that shakes kingdoms and destroys chains. Think about this. Why do you feel drawn to the things of the Spirit? Why do you hunger for love that doesn't fade, truth that doesn't lie, and peace that doesn't break? It is because you were made for it. Your soul remembers its origin. Even when your mind forgets, your spirit still knows. And when you hear the voice of truth, when you feel the presence of the Almighty, your soul leaps. Because it's like hearing your native language after a lifetime in a foreign land. There is a reason you feel out of place in this world. There is a reason you are not satisfied with shallow answers and temporary pleasures. It is because your true home is not here. Your origin is not 100% human. There is a spark in you from the throne of the Most High. And it is that spark, that breath, that keeps you alive even when your heart is broken. It's what lifts you when all else falls. It's what speaks hope into your mind when darkness surrounds you. Even in your worst moments, even when you feel lost, that breath is still in you. It is silent but never absent. It is patient, waiting for you to remember. And when you cry out, when you whisper, God, are you there? That breath responds with a whisper of its own, I never left. Beloved, the world will try to define you by your failures, your past, your pain. But heaven defines you by your breath. The angels don't see your scars, they see your light. They see the eternal signature on your soul. You are marked, not by trauma, but by glory. You were chosen before you were born, and the breath in you is proof. That is why you must walk differently. You cannot follow the world's path, because it leads to the grave. But you carry resurrection. You carry creation power. You carry divine breath. You must rise above the noise. You must listen for the whisper. You must remember who you are. You are not 100% human. You are part of a royal lineage, part of the divine plan, part of the sacred mystery. Your breath connects you to eternity. That is why you ache for meaning, why you are restless in the ordinary. You were born for more. You were made for the eternal. So when you breathe, know this, you are not just inhaling air. You are stirring the breath of God within you. And every time you speak truth, love, mercy, or forgiveness, you are letting that breath move through you into the world. You are letting God live through your words. You are letting heaven touch earth through you. This is your origin. This is your identity. This is the truth the world doesn't want you to know. But now that you've heard it, you can never unhear it. You can never go back to thinking you are merely flesh and blood. Because within you lives the breath of God, and that breath is calling you to rise. Close your eyes for a moment, not to sleep, but to awaken. To awaken to a deeper knowing, a silent truth that's been echoing in your soul since your first breath. Before you were formed in your mother's womb, you were. Before your body was shaped in the darkness of the womb, your spirit already existed in the light of eternity. Your story did not begin at birth. It began before time itself. You see, we often speak of birth as the beginning, but that is only the beginning of the physical journey. Your true beginning was not in the womb. It was in the heart of God. You are not simply a body that has a soul. You are a soul that was given a body, a spirit wrapped in flesh. Your essence, your true self, is not what the mirror shows. It is what cannot be seen with eyes of flesh, but is known by the eyes of the heart. This is why your spirit longs for things your body cannot touch. This is why you dream of things bigger than this life, why you carry a hunger that nothing here can satisfy. Because your spirit remembers. Deep inside, there is a memory, distant yet familiar, a sense that you came from somewhere far greater than this broken world, that you are part of something holy, that you belong to something infinite. You were not thrown into this world by chance. You were sent from a higher place, from the very breath and thought of God. Your spirit was not born of flesh, it was born of eternity. It existed in the presence of the Almighty. It knew love before pain, light before darkness, peace before the storm. And it carries the imprint of that divine reality even now, hidden beneath the layers of time and trial. This is why, when you hear truth, something inside you awakens. When you encounter love that is pure, when you witness mercy that is undeserved, when you stand in awe of beauty that no words can capture, your spirit stirs, because it remembers. It remembers what you were before you became flesh. It remembers the one who formed you, the one who called you by name before the foundations of the earth. Your spirit is not bound by time. Time is for the body. It counts the days of flesh, not the days of eternity. Your spirit is older than your age, wiser than your mind, stronger than your circumstances. It is the part of you that has walked with angels, heard the voice of the Creator, and stood in the presence of glory. That is why no amount of worldly wisdom can fully explain your depth. Because your depth is not human, it is divine. And yet you are here, in this world, in this body, not as punishment, but with purpose. Your spirit was placed in this earthly vessel to fulfill a divine mission. You are not lost. You are planted, not forgotten. Assigned, every moment, every trial, every tear is part of a sacred unfolding. You are not here by mistake. You are here by design. But the enemy wants you to forget. He wants you to believe that this world is all there is, that you are nothing more than flesh and bone, that your value is measured by what you do or what others see. He fears the truth of who you really are. Because if you remember that your spirit came from God, if you remember that you are eternal, that your origin is divine, then the chains He placed on you will break, and you will rise. You were sent here to shine in the dark, to speak truth in a world of lies, to love when others hate, to heal what is broken. You were sent here because this world needed you. Your gifts, your voice, your presence, your spirit was born for this time, for this place, for this calling. Do not be discouraged by the struggle. The greater the spirit, the greater the resistance. The world does not understand what it did not create. That is why you feel misunderstood. That is why you feel the weight of being different. It is because your origin is not from here. You were not made to fit in. You were made to stand out. You are a stranger in this world because your home is in eternity. And yet God has placed eternity in your heart, not to torment you, but to guide you. Like a compass that always points home, your spirit yearns for the Father. You may wander, you may stumble, but your spirit will always pull you back to the one who sent you, because your story does not end here. This life is but a chapter, a single breath in the vastness of eternity. What you do in this life echoes forever. Every act of love, every moment of sacrifice, every word of truth. It matters. It is written in the language of the eternal. And when this body fades, when your final breath is drawn, your spirit will return to the one who gave it. But not empty-handed. You will return with the fruit of your journey, with the love you gave, the faith you kept, the battles you fought, and the souls you touched. This is why your life matters beyond comprehension. This is why the darkness fights so hard to keep you bound in fear and confusion. Because you are not just a human being. You are an eternal soul on assignment. You were chosen, not just for salvation, but for impact. Even when you feel small, your spirit is mighty. Even when you feel forgotten, your origin is glory. Even when you are broken, your spirit is whole. Because it came from wholeness. It came from Him, and nothing can erase that. So live with this truth burning in your heart. You are not from here. You are only passing through, a divine traveler in a temporary world. And one day, when the mission is complete, you will return, not as you came, but changed, glorified, eternal home. Until then, walk in the awareness of who you are. Speak as one who carries eternity. Love as one who came from the source. Shine as one who remembers the light. You are not just living a life. You are fulfilling a divine purpose written before time began. Your spirit existed before your body, and it will exist long after your body is gone. This is not just a life. It is a holy journey, and your story is far from over. There are moments in life when the weight becomes too heavy, when the pain feels unbearable, and when the night seems endless. In those moments, it's easy to believe that you've been cursed, abandoned, or forgotten. But what if I told you that your trials are not signs of punishment? They are sacred invitations. What if your suffering is not meant to destroy you, but to awaken you? You see, my beloved, everything you face in life, every betrayal, every loss, every heartbreak, is not happening to you, it is happening for you. These trials are not meant to bury you in despair. They are meant to reveal who you truly are. They are the fire that burns away the illusion of who you think you are, so the truth of your divine origin can rise from the ashes. The truth is, you are far more than what you have been told. The world has tried to define you by your weakness, your failures, your past. But heaven knows you by your spirit. And sometimes it takes suffering to peel away the layers of illusion and get to the core of your being. It takes pressure to bring out the diamond. It takes fire to purify gold. In the same way, your trials are refining you, not ruining you. This world trains us to run from pain, to numb ourselves with distractions, to see hardship as a curse. But in the divine realm, pain has a purpose. It is a language that speaks not to the flesh, but to the spirit. It shakes the soul awake. It tells you you are not meant to stay asleep. You were made for more. Think about the times in your life when you truly changed. Not the easy days, not the comfortable moments, but the dark ones. The nights you wept, the seasons you felt alone, the days your heart was shattered. Those were the moments when something inside you was being called out. A strength you didn't know you had. A faith that had never been tested. A voice that had long been silenced. You don't grow on the mountaintop. You grow in the valley. You don't discover who you are when everything is perfect. You find it when everything falls apart. Because in the breaking, in the aching, in the deep silence of your pain, you begin to hear the whisper of your soul again. The distractions fall away. The masks drop. And what remains is truth. There is a reason you've walked through what you've walked through. It was never random. It was never pointless. Every tear you've cried has watered the soil of your destiny. Every struggle has been shaping you into the person you were always meant to be. You are being forged in the fire for something greater than you can see right now. And yes, it hurts, but birthing something eternal always comes with labor pains. The enemy wants you to curse your pain, to turn bitter, angry, hopeless. Because he knows if you embrace your trial with faith, if you lean into the fire instead of running from it, you will come out transformed. And he fears that. He fears a child of God who has been awakened by suffering. Because once you've walked through the valley and found God there, you become unstoppable. Once you've seen the light in your darkest place, no one can ever take it from you. You are not cursed. You are chosen. And those who are chosen are often called to walk through fire, not to be consumed, but to be refined. The flames that the enemy meant to destroy you with are the same flames God will use to anoint you. Your scars will not be signs of defeat, they will be signs of victory. Markings of battles that awakened your warrior spirit. You may not understand why certain things happened, and you don't have to. What matters is what those moments revealed in you. Did you find courage you didn't know you had? Did you discover a depth of love, of prayer, of strength that was dormant before? That was the purpose. That was the awakening. Sometimes God allows storms not to destroy your boat, but to teach you to walk on water. Sometimes he lets the winds rage, so you'll stop trusting the boat and start trusting him. He lets the world shake around you, so you'll find the unshakable truth within you. And here's the beauty of it all. Every trial you endure equips you to help someone else. Your pain becomes your power. Your mess becomes your message. What you survive becomes a testimony that breathes hope into someone else who's drowning. Your broken pieces, once healed, become a mirror that reflects the glory of God. And your life, yes, your life, becomes a light in the darkness. Don't run from your trials. Don't curse your pain. Instead, ask, what is this teaching me? What part of me is being awakened? What strength is rising within me that I didn't know was there? Because the truth is, some doors only open through struggle. Some levels of faith only come through fire. And some revelations only come through heartbreak. But in all of it, you are never alone. God does not abandon his own. He walks with you through the valley. He holds you in the furnace. And he whispers, this is not your end. This is your awakening. So stand firm even when you tremble. Cry yes, but don't give up. Because your pain has purpose. Your tears have weight. And your story is far from over. What you thought would break you is actually birthing a greater version of you. A version that carries glory. A version that remembers their divine origin. A version that is not just surviving, but rising. These trials are not your enemy. They are your training ground, your preparation, You're awakening because you were never meant to live asleep. You were born to be fully alive in spirit, in truth, in divine purpose. This is not the end. This is the beginning of something holy, something powerful, something eternal. The trial is not the curse. It is the call to rise, the call to remember, the call to awaken in the quiet moments when the noise of the world fades and your thoughts settle. Something deeper begins to stir. It is not your mind. It is not your emotions. It is the still, steady voice of your spirit. It doesn't shout. It doesn't need to. It knows who you are. It knows where you came from. And it knows the path that has been written for you since before time began. You see, deep inside of you is a knowing that no book can teach and no man can give. It's a divine compass that points to truth, even when you've lost your way. This inner knowing is not made of flesh or memory. It's made of eternity. It comes from the breath that gave you life. It is the echo of the Creator still whispering within His creation. And this voice, this divine instinct has always been with you. Even as a child, you felt it. That sense that there's more than what the eyes can see. That longing for something greater, something holy. That awareness that you are not just passing time. You are walking a path. Even when you couldn't name it, you felt it. And it wasn't your imagination. It was your origin speaking. This is why you cannot find peace in the noise. This is why the world's answers feel hollow. Because your truth is not out there. It's in here. Within your very being. Within your spirit. That voice that nudges you in moments of silence. That conviction that stirs when something isn't right. That pull you feel toward love, justice, mercy, and light. That's not culture, that's not instinct. That's divine memory. You were not created to be led by the world. You were created to be led by the Spirit. And the Spirit speaks to your spirit, not through logic or explanation, but through knowing, through the quiet certainties that rise in your soul like morning sun. Unseen but undeniable. But the problem is we've been trained to ignore it, to silence it, to drown it in distraction, entertainment, fear, or logic. The world has conditioned us to look outward when our answers are inward. And yet, that voice remains, even when you've turned away, even when you've doubted, even when you've forgotten who you are. That voice does not leave. It is the whisper of the divine that never gives up on you. It keeps calling you back to the truth. It keeps reminding you that you are more than your past, more than your pain, more than your performance. It calls you by your true name, not the one given by the world, but the one spoken in heaven. There is a reason you hesitate before making decisions, a reason you feel unrest when you're not aligned with truth. It's because that voice is not passive. It doesn't sit silently while you wander. It stirs, it alerts, it cries out, not to shame you, but to lead you. Because your spirit knows when something is not of God, even if your mind has not caught up. This is why people talk about feeling lost, even when they have everything. Because being lost has nothing to do with your surroundings and everything to do with your alignment. When you're out of sync with your divine compass, you can gain the world and still feel empty. But when you're in alignment with that voice, when your soul says yes, you can be walking through fire and still be at peace. Your spirit knows the truth even before your eyes see it. That's why you can hear a message or read a verse or encounter someone, and your heart responds before your head can explain it. That is the breath of God within you recognizing itself. It is the ancient knowing awakening. It is eternity whispering through time, this is the way. Walk in it. You don't need to be a prophet or a priest to hear this voice. You are already equipped. You are already connected. You are already carrying it inside. You were made to hear from God, not just through others, but directly, deeply, personally. The veil that once separated man from the divine was torn. You are no longer outside. You are invited in. But to hear this voice clearly, you must get quiet, not just with your mouth, but with your soul. The divine doesn't compete with chaos. It waits for stillness. That's why the enemy surrounds your life with noise, because he fears what will happen if you listen. He knows that one moment of clarity from God can change the direction of your entire life. You were not created to wander blindly. You were created to walk with divine direction. That's why your spirit aches when you stray. That's why no success can replace purpose. That's why nothing feels quite right until you're aligned with your truth. And your truth is not found in who the world says you are. It's found in who God says you are. It's found in that voice that speaks in the quiet. You are mine. You are chosen. You are more than this. It's the voice that calls you deeper when you settle for less. That breaks your comfort when you start to forget. That awakens your soul when you begin to fall asleep. So listen, not just with your ears, but with your heart. Pay attention to the unrest, to the yearning, to the gentle tug that keeps pulling you toward the light. Don't ignore it. Don't silence it. Don't drown it in the shallow things, because that voice is not from here. It is the only part of you that remembers what you were before the world told you who to be. You carry within you the same voice that hovered over the waters in the beginning, the same spirit that raised Christ from the dead, the same breath that brought dust to life. That voice still speaks, and it speaks to you. It is the voice of your origin, the voice of your Father, the voice that knows the way home. And you don't have to earn it. You just have to return to it. Return to the silence. Return to the stillness. Return to the truth that was placed in you before the world began. Because when you do, you will find clarity again. You will remember your identity. You will hear the whisper say, you were never lost. You just stopped listening. And when you begin to listen again, your life will begin to shift, not from the outside in, but from the inside out, because your steps will no longer be guided by fear or confusion. They will be guided by truth, by light, by the voice that was always there, waiting to be heard. This is the voice of your spirit, and it has been calling you home. You can chase success, accumulate wealth, achieve every goal on your list, surround yourself with praise, and still feel a hollowness echoing in your deepest parts. That's not failure. That's not depression. That is your eternal spirit reminding you, this is not your home. This is not where your fulfillment is found. This is not the end of your story. You are not fully of this world because you were not fully made for it. There is a divine homesickness within you that no earthly thing can cure. And no matter how far you run, no matter how much you try to numb it or distract it, the longing returns. It wakes you in the night. It tugs at you in your quiet moments. It whispers when you're alone, you are made for more. This world teaches us to find identity in temporary things, in our image, our achievements, our possessions. It defines worth by numbers, status, applause. But your spirit doesn't care about any of that. Your spirit doesn't find peace in the spotlight. It doesn't rest in comfort. It doesn't come alive in material things. It only responds to what is eternal. It only recognizes what carries the breath of God. And that's why the things of this world can only ever satisfy you for a moment. Like a vapor, they appear beautiful but vanish quickly. A new possession, a fresh thrill, another success. Each one promises to fill the void, but none ever do, because you're trying to feed a soul with things that were never meant to nourish it. You were not created just to survive, consume, and die. You were created to live, to reflect glory, to carry eternity within you. The pain you feel when you try to fit into this world is not weakness. It's proof of your origin. You don't belong here fully because your soul remembers heaven. It remembers purity. It remembers purpose. It remembers the one who breathed it into existence. That ache you feel when you see injustice, the weeping in your spirit when you witness suffering, the yearning for something better, these are not burdens. These are signs, signals that your soul is awake. They are reminders that you are not just part of a broken system. You are an ambassador of something higher, something greater, something holy. You see, the more awake your spirit becomes, the more uncomfortable you will feel with the ways of this world. It's not because you're strange. It's because your spirit is being restored to its original design. You begin to hunger for truth, for righteousness, for peace, not just in your own life, but in the world around you. You begin to walk differently, think differently, love differently, because you no longer draw your identity from a broken mirror. You start to live with eternity in your eyes. But this journey isn't easy, because the world does not understand a spirit awakened. It will call you naive. It will try to shame your purity. It will mock your longing for holiness. But take heart, this is the price of being set apart. This is the tension of being chosen. You live in the world, but you are not of it. You are passing through, not settling in. You are a sojourner, not a citizen. And while this may cause loneliness at times, remember, even in your isolation, you are never alone. The one who made you, who formed your spirit before time began, walks with you. He sees your aching. He understands your tears. And he promises that this world is not your final destination. It's only the beginning. Don't be discouraged if you feel disconnected from the things others chase. That is not your failure, it's your distinction. You were not made to conform, you were made to transform. You carry light in a world addicted to shadows. You carry truth in a culture of confusion. You carry love that is not self-serving but sacrificial. And yes, it will cost you. But what you gain in return is beyond comparison. This holy discontent you feel, it is heaven knocking at the door of your heart. It is a divine invitation to live above the noise, to reject the counterfeit comforts and pursue what is real. It is a call to come higher, to see with spiritual eyes, to remember who you are and whose you are. And the more you respond to that call, the more your perspective begins to shift. You stop asking, how can I get more from this life? And begin to ask, how can I give more to this mission? You stop chasing purpose in what you do and begin to embody purpose in who you are. You understand that you were placed here not by accident, but on assignment. Every day becomes a chance to reflect heaven in a world that's forgotten its creator. You may feel like a stranger. You may feel like your spirit speaks a language the world has forgotten. But do not despair. That difference is your design. You were made to remember what others have forgotten. You were made to awaken the sleeping, to heal the broken, to point to the way home. This is why the world never feels quite right. Because your home is not built with human hands. Your fulfillment is not rooted in temporary things. Your joy is not dependent on circumstances. Your peace does not come from possessions. All of these things fade. But the kingdom within you, the spirit within you, it does not fade, it does not fail, it cannot be taken. So do not silence the ache. Don't try to escape the longing. Let it lead you. Let it remind you that you were made for eternity, that you carry the image of the divine, that you are not here to fit in. You are here to shine, to love, to reveal, to live in a way that makes others remember there is more, because there is more. There is more to life than comfort, more to success than applause, more to you than what you see in the mirror. You are eternal, and that eternity inside you, it is waking up, it is crying out, it is calling you back to the source, back to your purpose, back to your first love. This world is not your end, it is your battleground, your proving ground, your temporary station. So hold it lightly, live in it, but don't let it live in you. Carry heaven with you everywhere you go. And when the world tries to define you, remind it gently, I am not from here, I am only passing through. And that, my beloved, is why the world cannot satisfy you, because you were made for glory. And glory is calling you home. There comes a moment in every soul's journey when the veil begins to thin, when the noise of the world quiets just enough for the eternal to break through. It is not always loud, it is not always dramatic, but it is unmistakable. You feel it, you sense it. Something shifts inside of you, and for the first time you don't just believe in a higher calling, you know you have one. You begin to sense that you were not sent here simply to exist, You weren't born just to pay bills, grow old, and fade away. There is something unique in you. Something that won't let you settle, won't let you forget, won't let you stay hidden. It's not arrogance. It's not delusion. It is destiny waking up. And that is the moment your divine assignment begins to rise. There is a fire in your bones that won't be silenced. It's not fueled by ego. It's fueled by heaven. It's not about being seen. It's about fulfilling what you were born to do. This fire doesn't burn you. It refines you. It doesn't consume your peace. It clarifies your purpose. And though the world may not see it, and though people may not understand it, the Creator who placed it in you has never stopped watching over it. Your assignment is not optional. It is the reason you were sent, and the resistance you've faced in life. The battles, the betrayals, the disappointments, they were not just random attacks. They were spiritual warfare against your potential. The enemy doesn't fight what he doesn't fear. The fact that you've faced hell in certain seasons is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of calling. You've been marked since the beginning, set apart before the world ever named you. And the trials you've endured have not disqualified you. They've prepared you. Every scar, every tear, every unanswered prayer was not wasted. They became training. They became oil for your anointing. They became the silent proof that even when the world tried to break you, the hand of God was holding you. Your assignment is not always about a platform. It's not always about crowds, microphones, or visibility. Sometimes your calling is hidden in the places no one sees, in the way you love people, in the quiet sacrifices you make, in the prayers you pray in the dark, in the forgiveness you choose when you could stay bitter. These are not small things. These are kingdom things. God does not measure purpose the way the world does. He doesn't look for polished perfection. He looks for yielded hearts. The assignment He's placed on you was designed specifically for your DNA. That's why comparison is a trap. No one else can carry your calling. No one else was built for your mission. That's why trying to be like someone else will only dilute the power in your voice. You were created to be an answer to a problem, a light in a dark place, a healing presence in a broken world. And while the world wants to define you by labels, God defines you by purpose. That's why your pain couldn't stop you. That's why your failures didn't destroy you. Because purpose is stronger than the storm. There is something in you the world hasn't seen yet. Something heaven crafted with precision. It's not always flashy. It doesn't always look successful. But it carries weight in the spirit. When you walk in your true assignment, you shift atmospheres. You bring peace into chaos. You carry the fragrance of heaven into the places others have forgotten. Your assignment is not just a task. It is your spiritual fingerprint. No one else can replicate it. And though the enemy has tried to silence you, to distract you, to confuse you, the time has come to rise again, to pick up the mantle that was always yours, to stop waiting for perfect conditions and start walking in faith. God does not call the qualified. He qualifies the called. He doesn't need your perfection. He needs your yes, your surrender, your obedience, even when you're afraid, even when you don't have it all figured out. The greatest moments of destiny are born in imperfect places. And the truth is, your assignment is not just about you. It's about the people connected to your obedience. Someone's healing is tied to your courage. Someone's breakthrough is waiting on your yes. You don't have to be famous to be powerful. You just have to be faithful. Every gift inside you was placed there for a reason. Your voice, your insight, your compassion, your endurance. These were not accidents. They were strategic. Your journey has been filled with battles, not because you're cursed, but because you're chosen. The greater the calling, the greater the resistance. But you've survived too much to quit now. Even in seasons where you felt forgotten, heaven was watching. Even when you were invisible to others, you were seen by God. And now is the time to step into the reason you were born. not for applause, not for fame, but for impact, for legacy, for eternity. When you walk in your assignment, you don't need validation. Your presence becomes the evidence. Doors open, chains break, people are changed, not because of who you are, but because of who you carry. The Spirit of God walks with you, speaks through you, moves when you move, and yes, it will be uncomfortable. Yes, it will require sacrifice, but the reward is not worldly, it's eternal. To know that you walked in obedience, that you said yes when it was easier to say no, that you poured out your life for something greater than yourself. You are not here by accident. You are not random. You are not forgotten. You were placed here at this time in history, in this generation, on purpose. The world needs what you carry. The broken need your compassion. The weary need your strength. The lost need your light. So don't wait for perfect timing. Don't wait until you feel ready. Your assignment isn't about your comfort. It's about your surrender. Every great move of God starts with one ordinary person who says yes to an extraordinary purpose. And that's you. You were not made to blend in. You were made to stand out, not for your glory, but for God's, not to make your name known, but to reveal His. So rise. Step into the fullness of your assignment. There is a divine urgency in the Spirit. Heaven is looking for those who will say yes. Say yes. Even if your voice shakes, say yes. Even if the path is unclear, say yes, because the time is now, and your assignment cannot wait any longer. You were never meant to be ordinary. You were chosen, set apart, and called with purpose. This world may not understand you, because you are not fully of it. Heaven placed something eternal inside you, and now is the time to rise, awaken, and walk boldly in your divine assignment. Say yes. You are not 100% human, and that is your greatest strength.